People, the beard has gone. The hair has been cut. We are live. It's Sunday night, which means one thing. Football is getting closer. It's business time. I'm looking the part again now, I think. The missus has cut the hair. I'll let the guests and news lot decide if that's good enough or not, though. But get back to what's really important, which is the football. Firstly, joining me today, we've got our guy on again. Owen, how you doing, Owen, mate?
I'm not too bad, but I forgot that you shaved the beard there before we were on. I'm disappointed more than anything. I'm disappointed. Mate, I thought you were going strong with it. We're going to power through.
When it started getting thicker, mate, because they have to wear ththese masks all the time now, it's practically impossible.
When you're on site and stuff, you have to take them.
Oh, mate, and as soon as I trimmed it and I put the mask on, it was like a breath of fresh air. I'm not gonna lie, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair play.
But also with us tonight, we've got Tim all the way over from Canada. How's the weather? How's everything over there, Tim? You doing good, mate?
Yeah, it's beautiful over here, mate. It's been
nice.
Really warm the last few days, but yeah, I'm also disappointed. Like, this is 7 days of growth here for me. I wanted to fit in, so I grew the beard, and then I log on with you, and it's gone, man.
Me and you can stand some.
That's it.
Right, we'll stand strong.
Right. Yep.
Adam's the traitor here. It's all right.
You sold us up the river, mate. You sold us up the river on this one.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I did, but I was bordering on hobo sort of standards with mine. It was going like that way instead of neatly going down. I was just like, oh.
You got to get all the creams and stuff, man.
I did, mate. I did. I got in with Company and they sent me the oils and everything like that.
Should have got L'Oreal to sponsor the videos and then send you a load of free stuff.
Yeah, if someone came, I might have pushed it out a little bit if someone came in and sponsored it. But yeah, nah. I need to think about work and all sorts, and it was getting in the way. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, fresh-faced hot topics this week. Obviously, the season starts in 3 days, fellas. So there's one topic. But before that, I just wanted to go on to what was actually hitting the rumour mill in terms of United transfers or lack of possibly transfers. Ollie's been talking up a few things, namely a few players recently. One in Paul Pogba, talking about Pogba staying now. So obviously, does that mean going into next season that Pogba's going to be here? Does that mean that we are not going to be investing in another creative midfielder a la Van der Beek style or Grealish? I still think Grealish will come even if Pogba stays, to be honest. But are we talking up players now like, or is Ollie talking up players now like he's making an excuse already for us not signing anyone? Because we've got Henderson has been mentioned. Ollie spoke about Henderson being the future of Manchester United as well. And you know what? He's not going to be playing in the game against us through his loan contract. But the way he's talking him up, I'm thinking, where's that money going from De Gea then? Because if he comes in, De Gea must be sold. So, in all fairness, I can't see Henderson coming in and De Gea sitting on the bench. So, De Gea's going to go. We're going to get some money for De Gea. So, where the hell is that money going? That's the question on that. I'm going to come to you first, Owen, mate. I mean, is it normal sort of Woodward's getting into Ollie tactics and the old fear of Ollie being a yes man again and doing as he's told and what to say? We need football back soon because we need something else to talk about. I think Ollie needs the football back. But is it a case of him just doing as he's told as usual, or is this seriously a possibility that we may not be spending money going ahead?
I mean, if it is, I think we're all massively disappointed. I think this is, as was said by Ollie earlier on in the summer, you know, this is a massive opportunity for a club like United to take advantage of, you know, clubs, you know, not necessarily in the Premiership, you know, maybe in the Premier, but around the Championship level, Eredivisie, Liga, and sort of them players that are of a good quality are ready to move up to take advantage and get a player for 20-30 million that would have probably cost 50-60, and to save a lot of money in terms of that. And like Donny van der Beek, like we've seen the prices being quoted, like before, previously it was, you know, they're talking 60-70 million, around the same as De Jong and De Ligt. And now we're talking 35. So it's an absolute snip in this kind of market. I also like, as much of a snip as it would be, I don't think Donny van der Beek is the one to bring in, because I feel like we have that area covered. And I think as good. Obviously it's a nice problem to have if we brought him in, but I don't know if he fits the mold of a player that we want right now. I feel like in terms of a midfielder to bring in, I think we need a holding midfielder. And the whole thing then with Henderson, I think that might be a tactic kind of just to keep him happy in a way, because in a way he's not wrong. I think he is the future. I think De Gea, I feel like the way it's going. Do you remember how when Chelsea did it with Courtois and Czech? Courtois was on loan for like 4 years, and they sort of gradually introduced him, and then it was Czech's gone. I think that will be what will happen. I think Henderson will spend next year out on loan. Then the season after, you'll see Henderson gradually introduced to the side. You'll see him introduced through cup games, and eventually you'll see him be our number one. But I think that'll be a 2 or 3 year period. Personally, like a gradual process. And talking about Sancho, Sancho has to come. He has to come in, and he fills that right hand side void massively that we've been missing for years. Massively, like just for years we've been missing it, and just we've never properly filled it since Ronaldo in terms of an absolute world class world beater. We had a couple of years with Valencia, but not really. So I think we have to sign Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, how are you seeing it, Tim, mate? Do you agree with what Owen's saying there, or do you see it differently? Are we looking at it are we looking too far into it, or is it just sort of putting the feelers down and putting you know what I mean, like getting everyone off the subject in a way so United can do business in the summer?
No, I agree with most of what Owen said. On the Henderson one, I totally agree. There's a massive step up from Sheffield United coming into to play at Manchester United. I mean, that's just a massive upgrade in terms of the pressure that he's going to be under to take over that number one. So I totally agree with what Owen said. It's got to be a sort of a gradual transition where maybe he gets another year out on loan of experience, and then he comes in and sort of plays a bit of an understudy role to De Gea. Because I don't think what would be the point in selling De Gea at this point? I mean, he's made a few mistakes, but I think if we can get everything settled in terms of the midfield, that'll sort of, settle the back four, and then he'll start to settle down. I think some of the mistakes that we saw, maybe there was a lot of stuff going on around him with his contract. Obviously, we saw some of the mistakes that Lindelof was making. So things weren't really settled there. But yeah, I would think I can't see De Gea going anywhere. And then as far as into the transfer market, with the Sancho one, there's a massive, and I saw you on MUFC Delhi yesterday, mate, and you said something that I would totally agree with, that after Sancho, the drop off is there, and there's nobody that's going to really probably come in and step into our team right away. Sancho's really the only one that's going to displace anybody in the first 11. Maybe Kai Havertz, but I mean, I still don't even see him coming in and stepping in and displacing if they play him in an attacking midfield role, and either Pogba or Fernandes. So I think that I don't think the Sancho deal is as close as people think. I think that you listen to the language from Woodward with him talking about how it's going to be a different transfer market this year. Dortmund don't seem like they're going to compromise at all on their transfer fee. He started to agitate a little bit for a move, so hopefully maybe that'll lower the price or the valuation that they have on him, because we all know how big player power is in this game, at the moment. But after him, like who really is there that's going to come in and make an impact in this squad? You're really looking at depth signings.
That's it, mate. It is that. Like I said that yesterday on the Instagram live on their channel. I do remember it actually. Yeah. It was for me the only player out there that I see possibly available, because the players that could dislodge current first team players are not doable. They just don't look like. I mean, I would say someone like De Ligt coming in as a centre back would probably make him get in. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of them. But every other position at that club at United right now, there's one position that stands out a mile. It's the right hand side. Look at the right hand side. So that the targets that we've been linked with over the last month or so, David Brooks from Bournemouth, Rabi Matondo from Schalke, Traore. Havertz he can play on the right. Like, who you look at what we have in Greenwood and Dan James,
would you look at one of those players that we've been linked with outside of Sancho and say one of them is automatically going to walk into that team and take over the right?
Tim, what I would say with any player that we've been linked with, I'd say that there is very little in terms of linking it. I feel like the Rabi Matundo was purely due to the Giggs link. In the same way that the centre half from was it Swansea? I can't remember his name. We all never fucking heard of him. Yeah, he just all of a sudden linked for 20 minutes. I think you're going to see that with a lot of Welsh players now because of Giggs. In the same way that you used to see it like ex-United players when they're a manager of a team, they just get linked to United. It's an easy thing for a shy sports journalist at the Metro to write. That's essentially it. I wouldn't take much attention to the likes of Rabi Matundo and David Brooks. I wouldn't. On
the other side of it, like, do you take that as any indicator that if we're starting to be linked to these sort of secondary Sancho replacement type players on the right, is that any indication at all that maybe that deal isn't as close as everyone hopes and thinks it is for Sancho? That they're starting to line up,
Definitely be there. Pretty much talking like you're asking there, mate. It's like, who do you look to next? Are United, like Van Gaal says, how can a club that turns over so much money not go out and get the players he wants and have to accept the second or third choice on the list? That's the thing. Are we going back down that road simply because we've got a manager who isn't going to say boo to a goose and go along with it all the way? He definitely needs football back to take these sort of subjects away, because I just think right now he's been sort of given just before the season starts, and obviously rumours are going to be rife, obviously, because we don't know when that transfer window is going to open. They're talking about it right now, but it just feels like he's been told just to say something on certain matters. The ones that have sort of been hitting the headlines, a la Henderson, Sancho. He's trying to not mention Sancho by saying the rest of the team that we've got are looking good and are getting better. It's the perfect sort of robotic, sort of scripted answer and comment to make from Ollie, but I'm not going to dig into him too much. What I am going to bring up though, and this one is seems that we've got a Canadian football expert, we should say, in Tim on with us today, Jonathan David. Now, you mentioned him before, Tim, and obviously being from Canada, you know an awful lot about the kids and playing in the Belgian league. Doing well in the Belgian league, doing well internationally. You could say some of the opponents Canada have faced, no disrespect, aren't fantastic.
None taken,
but his goal record is pretty decent. I think it's one in every 2 games or something, one in every game, every other game in the Belgian league. So, I mean, Lukaku came from Belgium. There's some good strikers who've come from Belgium.
Right.
Can you give us any inside track on what that was all about? I mean, you messaged me about it the other day. You know an awful lot about the player, so tell the people, mate.
Well, what's the kid like? As you said, 23 goals in 40 games. He's done really well, and I've seen him play a few times here for Canada. Works hard, pace for days. He's a very skillful player, good finisher. And I said it, I think last time I was on, really in the mold of a player that Ole has been trying to bring in with the young players that want to be there. He did an interview with the Daily Mail in April, sort of, and talked about how he sees the EPL as the best league in the world, and has always wanted to play in the EPL. But the one caveat to that, and the one thing he said, was that he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be playing regularly. And it just kind of goes back to what we just talked about: is who is he going to come in and displace? He's not going to displace Martial. You can't see him play wide right. So, where does he fit in to get significant minutes? He did an interview. So United ever since that interview, it's really been United and Chelsea that have kept tabs on him. I know that United has been scouting him, and they're interested in him. He did an interview probably 2 or 3 weeks ago here in Canada where he was talking about likely destinations, and he said that he saw the Bundesliga right now as somewhere where he would probably like to end up. Of course, Alphonso Davies is there playing with Bayern Munich, but the Belgian league has actually been pretty good for development for Canadian players. And this is another player that has sort of gone through that transition. I don't know if you guys remember Thomas Radzinski used to play for Everton back in another Canadian international who came from the Belgian league and did fairly well in the Premier League. But, he's a good young player. He's only 20 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see it happening this summer. As much as United want him, I think they're going to try to get him. But the thing that what it's probably going to come down to is United are going to want, or David and his camp are going to want a guarantee as to minutes and how much time he's going to play. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So
yeah, if he's wanting minutes, he's got to go to the Bundesliga. By the sounds of what you're saying to me there, it looks nailed on for I don't know which club, but any club in the Bundesliga will probably take him on, I think. Yeah,
I mean, you would Leverkusen, maybe whoever's losing players in terms of attacking players. Isn't Mueller on his way out of Bayern, or has he gone already? I'm not sure, but
I mean, you could possibly see him go to Ligue 1 as well, because Lille are likely to lose Victor Osimhen, and I think that's a good target for us.
The only thing you can think of is if Igalo goes in January. And now we're sort of in the mind for another center forward. There's going to be opportunities there with just Martial really is our only proper number 9. I mean, I hate seeing Rashford as a number 9. He's just not good enough for me as a number 9. So to bring in a proper center forward, if we're going to be challenging in all competitions, especially if we can get back into the Champions League and lure him in with Champions League football and say there's going to be opportunities, then maybe that's an opportunity to. But those are probably the discussions they're having with them right now. I would assume with these initial discussions.
Owen, you pretty much touched it. Then the Bundesliga, you can see who's what in game time, and is this a sort of common occurrence now? Because it seems now, and all sort of speculation, Jude Bellingham's actually going to be going to Dortmund now as well. That's apparently all nailed on for him to go there. So if United's so strongly linked and obviously interested in the player, we all seen the pictures of him at Carrington. Is this a similar scenario again, that United are just not willing to pay and meet players' silly demands? And I say silly because of his brother sort of clause. We all read about it, and he has to take his brother with him.
But it was like when Hazard went to Chelsea, Thorgan, and I can't remember the name of it, because Thorgan's at Dortmund now, but the other one was not a good footballer. Like, he was playing out in Hungary and stuff. All three of them signed for Chelsea. It was a similar clause to that, and that I think that's stupidity. Like, obviously, look, you can understand if you're a decent player, you can try and look after your brother. You probably would, but. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like stupidity to me. But the way the German league is and the way it's set up, it seems to be, because Bayern Munich are so dominant out there, and for the likes of Dortmund and Leverkusen and even going throughout the league like Hertha Berlin and Leipzig, all the teams don't seem to really mind about playing young players. They seem to have a very the risk is minimal, sort of, because it doesn't matter as much where you finish. Obviously, it's massive to finish in European places, but after that, it's not massive. Whereas the difference in the money for the Premier League, I think it's just too big of a risk that people don't want to risk young players being played. And in all fairness, we would all be a bit shocked if we had signed Jude Bellingham in the summer and next season he was starting the first game. No one was expecting it. I don't think anyone expects us to sign players that are 16, 17 years of age and starting them next week. Yeah, like they're very rare. Rooney was 17, 18. Ronaldo was 18, 19. Or whatever. They're a very rare breed of player that are that age and can fit into a first team and can start week in, week out. So it's not a chance that many people are willing to take, and especially in the Premier League. So that's why you'll see like the likes of Jonathan David and Reece Nelson, Ethan Ampadu, Jadon Sancho, obviously, and the list goes on. Ademola Lookman from Everton as well. They're going to Germany to get minutes because the German league is more willing to give them minutes to those younger players. And it's going to be a trend that you see because they have picked up so many great English players over the last few years and have developed them there very well. And you're going to see a lot of trend, not just English players from all around the world wanting to go to Germany at a young age because they know that they'll get a chance, as opposed to the Premiership where they get loaned out.
It seems like you said there, or it seems like German league is a feeder league. You mentioned Bayern Munich being miles ahead of everyone else. So you don't see Bayern Munich do what Dortmund do. But it's like Dortmund say to a player, look, 3 years, give us 3 years of your career at an early age. Let's see where you get to, and then we will grant your wish to go. Because, like you said, then the money's not there in Germany, and Dortmund literally funds their whole operation on selling players that they've bought in young. I mean, Haaland's going to be there, another 2 years maximum. Even that, I'd be pushing it. It's literally, it's like Raiola said to him. He said, look, you go Dortmund, you're guaranteed to get your multi-million-pound move. You're going to get some decent wages in Dortmund, not brilliant. You're going to get game time every single week, and you're probably going to play Champions League football and be a shining light and boost your price even more, guaranteeing the player that when that move comes, he is going to get some big deal. Raiola's like promised him a massive deal on his next move. So it's like they're moving to Dortmund knowing that that's not the club they're going to be at. They're going to be going to a big club from Dortmund. Dortmund seem to feed everyone. And like you said then, the list of players, Bayern Munich and the German league, for me, still is, and you can say Dortmund are up there challenging, but I can guarantee you something. Bayern Munich ain't going to get rid of Lewandowski. Muller's not going anywhere. Kimmich is not going anywhere. Them players stay at. They stay
Munich don't sell anyone. They never sold Ribery. Ribery was linked to us for years. I remember, that was the first player I remember United being massively linked to. For years and years, we linked to Ribery. Munich only sold players when they're past it. Like when we signed Schweinsteiger.
That's what I was going to say then, mate. It's like literally, you're not going to sign anyone until their career is over in Germany. They've achieved 3 World Cups in the German shirt, and they've won so many Bundesligas. Then Bayern Munich are going to let them go then, or they're going to retire. It's as simple as that. It's like Philip Lahm, for God's sake. You've one of the best fullbacks in the world. Never ever going to leave. Never going to leave. And it was a case of, it was the same with Thomas Muller, wasn't it? I mean, even when he was playing bad, thinking, right, go change it up somewhere. Nah, I'm staying here. I'll wait for the next manager. They don't want to go. And it's crazy. The difference between them and Dortmund and the rest of the German league is unbelievably so different, and the way it's run. But the worrying thing is, it's like by the time they go to Dortmund, and now we're all worried if United are actually going to pump up the money for Jadon Sancho. That's the worry for me. When they go to Dortmund then, and that price goes up, are United going to spend that money? I mean, we've had a few players from Dortmund especially. I can remember Kagawa. I can remember Mkhitaryan, and we all know how well they did.
You know what I mean? To be fair, Mkhitaryan did well in the Europa League. That was about it. Mate, he kind of won us that Europa League, I'd say.
It's one of them ones with Bellingham. Maybe it benefits us in first of all, with what Owen said, that's exactly what these guys are doing. They want to the young guys want to play now, and we just touched on David, but certainly that's what's going on with the German league. And in the Birmingham Mail, there was an article probably 2 weeks ago which talked about Jude Bellingham, and it was saying how his because I think his father's his agent, and I think his dad was saying how, he saw a path for his son at Dortmund to develop and follow the same path as Sancho. And like you said, go there and play and get that experience now and develop in real time minutes, as opposed to going to a club and developing in limited opportunities. The days of sort of academy players coming through and really biding their time are over. And these guys want to play now. And if they're not going to have those opportunities at some of these other clubs, bigger clubs, where they're not going to get those opportunities, then this is the way that it's going to go. This move in particular, could it be a benefit for Bellingham to go to, I believe he's an attacking midfield, but I believe he does play wide. He can play wide as well, and holding. So there's a couple positions where he can play. Is it one of those ones where maybe it benefits United in terms of being able to at least free up Sancho a little bit, knowing that they've got another good young player coming in to replace him? Is one way to look at it. But yeah, it's the way that it's going to go, and United are going to have to, it's an era that Woodward is going to have to really step up his game in terms of being able to negotiate with these sort of, I mean, the Bundesliga is a good league, but second, lower tier league, not lower tier leagues, but, not same tier as the Premier League, and be able to negotiate transfers and free these players up, because that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, it sort of scares me a little bit in the way it's all sort of bunched together in terms of United not willing now to deal with having been stung, I think, so much by Raiola so many times that they just said, look, if you don't want to come to United, we're not going to absolutely throw everything at you. You can go. We're just not doing it anymore. It seems like we've taken a sort of stance. And looking at all the transfers we made so far under Ole, it was like we couldn't fail in them because the player that we were going for only wanted to go to United.
Yeah.
And everything was set up perfect for the deal. It was like, I still can't for the life of me understand why no one else was in for Bruno Fernandes. We are so lucky to actually have that player at United. How one of the big teams in Europe were not after him and he accepted Europa League football. I'm amazed. And that's the type of player that they're looking like they're going for now. If he's not willing to go and play Champions League and come to United, same with Maguire, Bazaka, could have gone to Champions League football clubs who were in it. I know they came to United. It just seems to me now it's like, okay, you don't want to come to United. We've shown you what we've got. We've shown you around Carrington in Bellingham and talking here. And you know what, your brother? Nah, it's not for us. That we're not bowing to your demands as a 17-year-old kid. You can go elsewhere.
How old is his brother? Is his brother younger than him? Is it, or?
I'm not too sure, mate. To be honest,
I think he's younger. I think he's.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I would have thought it would have been an older brother. That would have been embarrassing.
Well, that's because that's what happened at AC Milan with Donnarumma.
Yeah, but
with Donnarumma, because I
think AC Milan were desperate, weren't they, at the time?
Yeah, but to be fair, his brother's like 9 years older than him, and he's a goalkeeper as well.
Let's be clear.
They'd sold him, then they re-signed him as a backup.
Like, no, I don't think they shouldn't be giving in to demands of these young players. I mean, who are you to come to United and demand that your brother come with you, or who are you in the academy to demand? His brother's 27. Someone says so he's older, but
Jesus Christ, I've got to look that up. Surely,
I'm not. Prem Prodigy, just let me know on that. Just get onto Google and find that out, mate. Come back to us.
But I mean, you look at some of our greatest. Our greatest players in United's history, like Beckham went out on loan. Sir Bobby Charlton was the last of the babes to come through, and he had to bide his time. There's players that came ahead of him, and I remember reading that he had talked to Jimmy Murphy and said, "You get your opportunities, but you got to toughen up. That's why these players are coming in ahead of you, and that's the way it should be. There should be we're not talking about a second-rate club here. We're talking about United, and you should have to come to United."
His brother's 14. I just looked it up.
What's that?
His brother's 14.
14, yeah. So you should have to come here and work to get into the side. That's the way it should be. So if you get these players that start making these demands, and that's, I think that part ties into the type of player that Ole wants to bring in, is players that want to be here, but also players that are willing to put in that graft and put in the work and compete for their position. That's the type of player that you want here.
But it's the way football has gone, I think, because I think it all goes back to the whole Bosman ruling and everything. Like player power is massive in this day and age, and I think the only club in the Premiership where a player isn't the most well played person at the club is at Burnley, because they have a staunch thing like where no one earns more than the manager. Whereas like every other club, there are maybe 5 or 6 players on the books that earn more than the manager. And you've seen it at Chelsea where they've got the manager out. It was Fabregas, Costa, and Terry. Fabregas and Costa that got Mourinho out of Chelsea that time. You've seen it before of players just not playing for the manager. We've seen it ourselves when Mourinho, when no one wanted Mourinho there. The amount of players, all the players looked disinterested. Second on he came in, we won 9 games on the bounce. Player power is such a key thing now, and as you're saying, that's a fair point. But Jimmy Murphy, that's 50. I know,
you're talking years ago for sure.
As in terms of, you got to look at the modern times and think, player power is a real fucking thing, and the level of control players have is ridiculous. Like players can demand whatever they want these days, and it's like what Rio Ferdinand said before on BT. I remember saying, they haven't kicked a ball in professional football sometimes, and they're already millionaires. So where's the motivation? It's gone already, and it's just a strange situation.
Fair point. But there's got to be a balance.
It's scary because it is the balance now. I think that is the stance United are going to take. I can see United losing out on an awful lot of players because of this now. And you know what? I'll sit back and I'll go, we busted a gut to get the likes of Sanchez into this football club, and now we look like absolute clowns. You know what I mean? We pay some average players stupid wages. And you know what? If this is the stance we're going to take now, then you know what? I don't mind it. I really don't. It's because I'd rather some young kid come through who wants to actually play for Manchester United, because I've seen it now. I've seen these big time players, and I've said this on previous videos before, that Manchester United make their world-class players. United make their superstars at United. Not one superstar has been bought in my opinion. I would say, yeah, you could argue what Van Persie maybe, the final piece in a jigsaw when he came in, but this is the case now. Every time United go and bust a gut, and the jury's still out on Pogba in this as well. You know what I mean? De Gea made himself at United. He became one of the world's best goalkeepers at United. This is where I think, and that's what I think Ollie's actually trying to use the Ferguson blueprint in everything that he does. Yeah. He really, really does. He wasn't scared to get rid of so many players and not bring that many in. Ferguson did that in his first summer. He's doing exactly the same thing as what Ferguson's doing. And he's trying to take the old school approach again with not bowing down to the demands of the younger players and some of these so-called world-class players. Haaland, we could have easily got Haaland. But United just eventually just went, you know what? We've had our pants pulled down so many times. We're not even dealing with this agent anymore. I just feel like it's going to be the way it goes. The fact that no one else is in for Sancho is the only hope I've got. Yeah, the only hope I've got for Sancho is it does not look like anyone else is going to be anywhere near being able to afford him or want him. I just feel like it's one of them again. It just, to me, it sounds like a Bruno Fernandes deal, the Sancho one, which is why I've still got a bit of hope. It's all about United. I mean, Romano came out and said it's all about United. United want him. There's no issue with contracts and personal terms. It's all about the deal with Dortmund now. So
he's agitating for the move.
I just think United will try and abuse that because they know that Sancho wants to come. It's great, but it just leaves us fans all sat here chewing nails thinking that we're going to get stung and gazumped on the last minute again for a player. I mean, are you confident still, Owen, after what we've talked about tonight and what's been mentioned in the press from Ollie? I mean, do you still see us signing players, or is it these little stories that are coming out and rumours, like, are they dampening it a little bit? Are they making you nervous as such?
Nah, personally, I think we're going to sign Sancho, but we're going to go the Man United. No, not the Man United way, but the Ed Woodward way about it, which is it takes 2-3 months. We take ages and ages. We debate over what's this, what's that. Yeah. Oh, they want 115 mil. Oh, we only give 100, but we'll give 115 a month later. Like with Harry Maguire, the same bullshit again. Yep. Just negotiate, and give in to what they want. That is the exact same. That is the exact same thing, and that is what will happen. I think we'll deliberate over the fee for months and months. We'll end up paying it. We'll pay him what he wants in wages, and then he'll come. In terms of other signings, though, I don't think, like Chelsea have gone and done business. You know, like that. You know, it looks like Werner's all but sewn up. Ziyech was sewn up in February. It looks like either. It looks like it's either going to be Chua or Alex Telles from Porto. Yeah. I think Alex Telles is probably the better option because he's going to be a quarter of the price and he's an equivalent player, I think. But then they're looking at Kai Havertz as well. Yeah, they've already signed 2 class players in Ziyech, and I think we all know that Werner's pretty much done. And Chelsea have just gone out like Chelsea of old and just gone done. Yeah, here's the money, take it, sweet as, sorted. Yeah. Whereas United, like since we've had Woodward in charge, since David Gill's gone, there's no bit of finesse to it. There's no bit of class. It's just deliberate, like chatting over fees for months. Like when we signed Van Persie, no one knew about that. there was no talk of it for any time. It took like
just happened.
a couple of. I remember I turned on Sky Sports News. All my mates were Arsenal fans. I started filming it, taking the piss. Like it was one of the happiest days of my life. I was dancing and singing around the living room for about a week. But like that doesn't happen with United anymore. We seem to be this media like puppet that we have to throw everything out. Anything that we do has to be put straight out into the media. And Woodward just. I don't know. He's just got that big ego, and he has to argue for a month, but eventually consigns to the fact that he can't get a deal.
Mm-hmm. Takes Fellaini down to deadline
exactly
day.
Oh God, yeah. Let's not even go down that road. Anyway, that's enough about that.
I was excited about that when we fucking signed him. Jesus.
No.
Well, yeah, because at the end of it, we were just like, "Oh my God!"
I was 14. I was 14. I was 14.
Still...
I thought.
Oh, and let's not get onto your age again, mate. That still scares me now. No, so we're going to finish up in the show and the last bit now with looking ahead. Obviously, we can't not finish the show without looking ahead to Friday night.
Yes!
You know what? We've seen a glimpse. The goals were on. That we played West Brom the other night. Just so happens Chong and Pereira scored the goals, which just happened to do it. Pereira again with no pressure on his shoulders. I mean, you know what? I watched Pereira come on against Lasky, scored a goal from 35 yards.
Pereira will be brilliant.
No crowd. No crowd. And then Pereira again. Pereira again with no crowd at Old Trafford.
Adam,
2 more goals.
How good he was at youth level. No crowd. That's his level.
Yeah.
No crowd.
He might be all right.
He might be good for the next few weeks.
That brings me on, mainly to you, Tim, first, because we've not spoke to you about this. But can you see there being any sort of swerve balls thrown in? Because I know what team I would like, but I know what team is probably going to be picked. Can you see anyone sort of surprising us, jumping into the starting lineup against Spurs? Because now we've obviously seen that Dele Alli's out for them. Their attacking options are minimal in terms of what I can see now, with like Kane and Son. And Lamella.
Son's out.
Yeah.
Scratch. Is Son out as well?
Apparently, someone was saying that because Spurs had a friendly or something.
Yeah, they had 2 injuries in that game.
No, not even injuries. I think players got COVID or something.
Really?
Of the team that they were playing against.
That was Norwich. The Norwich player in the news.
Tested positive.
There's new protocol with the Premier League teams now that they have to follow. It's like you have to have been around the player who has had COVID for more than 15 minutes, apparently. So there's not one chance that a player has stood around the same player on the pitch for 15 minutes. So that's what they're going off. Norwich and Spurs have both come out with that statement and used exactly the same. They've got the sat-navs on the players, so they know who they've been next to, where they've been. And
so Herrera and Mark Hazard anyway.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to go with that. But we'll get back to you again, Tim, on that one. I mean, anyone else staking a claim coming through? I mean, a lot of people are using the team that finished before the lockdown in terms of probably the best form we've seen the team playing definitely all this season. But is there anyone else who comes straight in for you? I mean, I've got my team. Everyone knows mine.
Well, what did you?
Owens in a minute. I mean, mine was crazy attacking, mate.
Yeah.
If you want to know what my team was the Gea in goal with the back 4 as it was. Shaw on one side, Bizaka on the other. I can't see Lindelof being dropped for Bailly yet. Although I want to see Bailly get game time. Obviously, Maguire in there.
Yeah.
One holding midfielder in Matic.
Mm-hmm.
I then went with Bruno next to him playing as the number 8, up and down. Pogba in front of a front three of Rashford, Martial and Greenwood.
Yeah.
And that sends shivers down my spine, but I know it's not going to happen.
I think that's the discussion we were having on last time I was here, was whether or not Pogba was going to walk right back into the team. I can't remember. I can't remember what you guys had said, but with how well like Fred had been playing and McTominay had been playing well too. But you look at how hard they've been working on fostering that Pogba and Fernandes relationship in training, and the couple chances that they carved out in their friendly was West Brom. I think was it West Brom that they played?
Yeah, West Brom,
that they carved out against West Brom. I think it was that sort of raking diagonal pass that Pogba sent in the box for Fernandes that looked pretty well. So I think he will come back in. So with your team, yeah, I think that pretty much sounds right. We saw before the break where he was going with the three central defenders, but I think he'll probably go back to. Did you have them set up in a 4-2-3-1 then? Is that what you were? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
I had the one behind the three though. So 4-2-1-3 you could say as such.
So I think he probably goes back to that same formation. I think you're probably, right on with your team. That'll just be the thing is like with the amount of games that they're going to have. And I think they've increased the squad size for them, haven't they? If I read that right, I think that they can.
5 subs.
Yeah, you can have nine. You can have 9 players on the bench and use 5 of them, but only in 3 substitutions. So there's going to have to be 2 double substitutions, which we're probably going to see a lot. And they're talking drinks breaks as well for the time of the year. So it's going to be a tedious sort of watch, I think, the first game. So I think for me, the likes of Pereira and Lingard are actually back in the matchday squad only because there's 9 substitutes. That's how I see them getting in. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen them.
Well, that plays into it because then if you've got 2 extra subs, your sort of turnover game to game, you're gonna be able to rotate players through more, and also, like you said in that first game, with it being their first game. Are you gonna start, say, a Fred or a McTominay and then sort of ease Pogba back into it, or some of these players back into it that might be coming back from injury, or Rashford even? Are you going to ease them back into it a little bit? Who knows? Are they going to have a minutes restriction, any sort of minutes restriction with the amount of games looking ahead that are coming up? It's going to be it. We were talking about it last time, and I had said how it would be. I want to see the relationship between the midfield, how it bonds together. But the more, and you guys sort of were right, and how I think it's going to be the performances at first are going to be very disjointed. Much what we saw with the Bundesliga with passes being overhit, things like that. It's not going to be very attractive to begin with, that's for sure. And it may not be like 9 games, like you guys said earlier, 9 games left. It's just about getting the points, right? So
it's like that, isn't it? I mean, you look at it now, 9 games to go, and it's like a mini tournament. Yeah. You'd hope it would be a mini tournament because you'd hope that every single team would play to win every single game. But if you look at the table and some of the games, you're looking at some teams and they're probably going, you know what? Should we risk going gun-ho in a chance that we could lose some players to serious injuries again?
Well, that's it.
Going into next season, because like you said, 250% increase in injuries in the Bundesliga since they restarted.
Yeah.
And some teams looking at this going, you know what? We've got enough points. We're not going to go gun-ho. Some players will be thinking exactly the same. We've seen what happened with some of the lower league teams. I don't think that's necessarily the case in the Premier League, or how many players are out on loan. It could play a factor because effectively a lot of them players know they're not going to be at this club when they go back. Mm-hmm. And how are they going to be wholly straight in on this, or are they going to be half-hearted in it? I mean, Owen, it's something to consider and something to think about, because some teams and some players are not going to be all in, I don't think.
Well, massively, and I think the point was made. I made the point about Liverpool last week. If they win the league, which we all know they're gonna.
Exactly. Yeah.
If they win the league they could technically win it after the first game. Say if City lose to Arsenal, they could technically win it after the first game. So then you're not going to see. Klopp's going to rotate around that squad. He's not going to be playing his best team every week. He's going to be floating about, and he's going to be playing. He's going to be seeing what his best team is for next year, and he's going to be using it as a pre-season. And I think we were all counting our chickens a couple of weeks ago about United playing the lower end teams, and they're the sort of players that will still absolutely give everything. But in terms of we talk about the modern player quite a lot, and certain players that would be at the likes of Aston Villa and Bournemouth, and so them players that are just looking for the next move, just like not that concerned about the club. They might have been there for a season and they're thinking, do you know what, not really that fussed. The next move is what's more important. And if they if they're discussing with their agent saying, right, we've got you a move kind of like half nailed on.
Yeah.
Hope don't next 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Don't take it easy. Don't go into every challenge. Don't go after every ball. Don't strain yourself. Make sure you're fit. End of the season, you're moving to Bordeaux or where, not necessarily like that, but like, you see it all the time. Whenever the 3 teams get relegated, you see there's a massive clear out. There's 6 or 7 players that go, not necessarily all the top players, but 4 or 5 best players will probably go most of the time. And I think you will see that if so Norwich go down, you're going to see Max Aarons go straight away. You're going to see maybe not Pookie, Cantwell will definitely go. I think Buendia as well. I think Buendia is.
Who's the fast winger as well? Is that him? Is it Ramirez or something like that on the wing?
Did he score against us?
No, yeah, he did. But
when we won 3-1.
Yeah, I can't remember. Is it Ramirez or something like that? He looks like a player. They were a different team when he came on. So you're looking at a lot will be thinking.
There's a lot of good players at Norwich and
Pookie.
Pookie will probably stay. Well, do you know what he's got? He's got West Ham written all over him. But
it was Hernandez, Adam.
That's him. Yeah, I know. But he looked good.
Yeah,
but you see it. You always see it like when Jordan Ayew had quite a good season when Aston Villa got relegated. He went straight to Crystal Palace. You've always seen it. You've always seen whenever they go down. And I think a lot of it goes one of 2 ways. They either haven't got a move and they're trying to play for it, or they have, or they haven't. They have it lined up, and they're like, right, I'm not risking this. I'm already got it agreed that I'm moving to Everton or I'm moving to Wolves or something. And it depends on the transfer market and where it's agreed and who goes down and not on. It's a very
case in point what you said there, Owen, was the Bournemouth winger. What was he called? The little
David Brooks.
No, the little guy on the wing. What's he called now? God's sake, I'm forgetting everyone's name.
Bournemouth.
France. Is it France? Oh, what's he called? Little Scottish winger.
Oh,
Bulldog. Fraser. Yeah, remember when he actually came out and said came out and said he wasn't putting in 100% because he thought he was moving to Arsenal, and that was with nothing going on in the world, nothing crazy sort of scenario wise.
Well, he's on a free at the end of the year.
That's what you know what I mean, mate. Is he there? Bournemouth are ready to go down. Do they want him in the team? We've got them coming. You know what I mean, mate?
I think Bournemouth are going to be in massive trouble when they come back. I think they're going to be in massive trouble.
Yeah, it could possibly be. Anyway, people, that is pretty much it for this evening. I just want to say thank you to everyone coming on in the comment section. I just want to say, obviously, thank you to the boys for coming on again. Owen, just give the people a shout out for your socials, mate, please.
Yeah, it's Owen Roch 1 on Instagram and Courtney Red 99 on YouTube. And there's going to be I'm going to be doing a new show on my channel with Adam as well, hopefully, and a couple of other guests. Going to be called a crafty couple, looking ahead at the fixtures and just having a couple of beers and chilling out like normal lads do. So check that out when you get a chance.
Yeah, obviously we'll be getting our Canadian friend on there as well to give us the inside track. But yeah, give the people a shout out, Tim, to what your socials are, mate, and your channels.
Sure, mate. Yeah, you can find me at Niagara MUFC, the official handle for the supporters group, United Supporters Group here in Niagara. And I also have a new sort of venture coming out, podcast calling Walking Down the Warwick Road with longtime Red Pete Molyneux, where we're going to be looking at United past and present and linking historical United to present. So should be a good time when that comes out.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Everybody, take it easy. Stay safe as always. Hopefully the weather stays as nice as it is. It's not just in Canada, mate. It has been all right here today.
Brilliant. Lovely here today.
Enjoy it.
I can see some grey clouds coming. I can see some Monday clouds coming in right now. But yeah, that's it, people. If you want to see more of me, I will be over on the United Stand as usual at 8 o'clock as well. Catch me out there. But other than that, everybody stay safe. Thanks for tuning in as always. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button on the channel. We are still growing quite rapidly now that football is due to come back. We can see a difference. Everyone's getting excited. And you will see me I don't know if I'll do a preview to the show. I can't believe I'm actually talking about previewing a game.
Preview!
Throw the beard back for it.
Anyway, if I don't stop now, I'll just get into it. But yeah, I'll see you later, people. Take it easy midweek, and then you will see me on Friday, definitely. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.